Hello, I'm Rick and this is the Adidas Adios Pro Evo 2. Many of you will remember the Pro Evo 1 as a controversial shoe that was marketed at £450 and only good for one marathon. And many people thought maybe that's not good value, particularly against the backdrop of a cost of living crisis and a drive towards sustainability in footwear. However, the shoe did seem to do the business on race day. Most recently at the London Marathon, Tig Sasifa won the women's race in the Pro Evo 1. I never got a chance to try out the Pro Evo 1 shoe as press samples were extremely thin on the ground, so I was really excited to try out the Pro Evo 2, and here's what I think. The first thing that strikes you about the Pro Evo 2 is it's incredibly lightweight. 138 grams in a UK 8.5, and that's exactly the same weight as a Pro Evo 1, and about 50 grams lighter than its carbon plated competitors. And that's amazing when you put on your foot. It's thrillingly lightweight. You feel like you're not wearing a shoe at all. Rather than a carbon plate, the Pro Evo 2 has something called energy rods, which are very much like a carbon plate, but mirror the kind of metatarsals in your foot. So if you can imagine if my fingers were not made from flesh and blood, but actually from carbon, you have these kind of rods working in the shoe. It works very similar to a carbon plate, and combined with the Light Strike Pro foam gives you a really responsive ride on the move, particularly at faster paces. Right, let's look at the heel to toe drop, because here's where things get interesting. It's only a 3mm heel to toe drop. That's 39mm in the heel, 36mm in the forefoot. The Pro Evo 1 actually had a 6mm heel to toe drop, and most carbon plated shoes have somewhere between 6 to 9. So you're getting a much flatter ride here. And I think the likely reason for that is that this is a shoe that's marketed at midfoot to forefoot strikers. So have a real think about that before you think about purchasing this shoe. It's like, am I a heel striker, or am I actually more of a midfoot to forefoot striker? I think this shoe is definitely marketed at the kind of forefoot to midfoot end. Right, let's talk about cost. The Pro Evo 2 is a whopping £450, which is a huge amount of money to pay for a shoe. It's about twice that of what you pay for most of the other carbon plated shoes that are out there. The Pro Evo 1 was a similar price. I think what I'd say about this shoe is it's got amazing technology in it, but it's not made to last multiple races. It's going to last more than one marathon, but you're not going to get hundreds and hundreds of miles in on this shoe. So you want to have a real think about the kind of investment you're prepared to make in your distance running before purchasing a shoe like this. Right, looks. The silver and red colourway is not for the faint of heart. This isn't a shoe that's very understated. A lot of super shoes are like that. I actually quite like that on race day. I think if you've got something on your foot that makes you feel fast, that's a bit kind of loud and proud, I think that's good. And this is certainly a shoe like that. The upper's actually almost translucent. Again, anything to save weight here. The lacing system is really, really good once you get it on. It does take a little bit of adjusting. It's a slightly narrow fit. I've got a narrow foot, and actually it took a little bit of time just to get the lace system right, but once you get it right, it feels really locked in and great, so that's perfect. In terms of the fit itself, yeah, I have a narrow foot. A lot of Adidas shoes I think do fit slightly narrow, and that's absolutely fine for me. I think if you had a really wide foot, maybe this isn't the shoe for you. It fits true to size, to small, I would say. I'm a size 9, I can get away with a size 9 in this. If you were kind of the larger end of size 9, I would definitely go for a 9.5. I think a lot of people find that in Adidas shoes anyway, that they should go up half a size. And I think if you were targeting specifically the marathon in this shoe, you should go up half a size on what you normally wear, probably to what your normal Adidas size is. Okay, let's talk about performance, because that's absolutely where this shoe is marketed at. I took this shoe to the local running track to do a combination of reps. I've been training to do a 5-minute mile, and I took the shoe out on some 400 reps, which were done in about 75 seconds, which is 5-minute mile pace. And actually the shoe is amazing at paces like that. It really, really comes to life. It's thrillingly lightweight. It's incredibly responsive. You get that kind of sense of bounce and propulsion. It almost feels like it's kind of disappearing on your foot. And I think for stuff like that, this shoe was like, okay, this is what this shoe is about. This is who this shoe is for. I don't do a huge amount of my miles at a 5-minute mile pace. And I think that's something to think about when you consider purchasing this shoe. Is this a shoe that's actually designed with a runner like me in mind. I think if lots of your miles are 6-minute miling plus, as it is for lots of us, including myself, I'm not sure that it's worth justifying the purchase for this shoe. But if you're a kind of elite end runner, if you're going around winning races or really want to invest in your kind of high end running, then I think this could be the shoe for you. At slower paces, even for me, marathon pace, this shoe actually can feel a bit clunky and unnatural. And I think that's something to bear in mind, is that because it's designed with the elite of the elite in mind, who are running even for the marathon, 4-something minute miles or 5-something minute miles. If you're going to do a lot of mileage that's higher than that, I'd question how relevant this shoe is to your running. And that's something that I've had to look at as well. It's like for certain specific sessions, for mile pace sessions, it's perfect for me. But I probably don't do enough of that in my week to feel like I need a shoe like this in my arsenal. A good alternative to the Pro Evo 2 is something like the Adios Pro 4, which is this shoe here. It's £220 and it's a real favourite among runners world. My colleague Rachel Boswell actually wore this very shoe en route to becoming the first female British finisher at the Tokyo Marathon this year. Yeah, a lot of the same technology as the Pro Evo 2. But it's coming in at half the price. It's not quite as lightweight, of course. It probably isn't quite as elite, but I think for most of us, 99% of people, this could be a really good alternative to the Pro Evo 2. Okay, in conclusion, if you have deep pockets and big ambitions, then there's lots and lots to get excited about in the Pro Evo 2. At sub 6-minute mile pace and even sub 5-minute mile pace if you're that fast, it's absolutely incredible when it comes to life. Incredibly lightweight, like I said, about 50 grams lighter than most super shoes, and gives you that real sense of propulsion on the move. However, I think for most of us who are running slower than that, including myself most of the time, actually there may be super shoes out there that are just more applicable. So I think that's something we should all consider before purchasing. However, if all the stars align and actually you are someone who's looking to win races or be right at the front, and you do have deep enough pockets to invest in a £450 shoe, then the Pro Evo 2 is super exciting. If lots of your running is done at sub 6-minute mile pace, if you're really targeting PBs, if you're always at the front of races, then of course I think it's worth investing in a shoe like this. I think for most of us though, we can get lots of the same benefits from other super shoes that are almost half the price. And I think if lots of your running actually is more in the kind of 6 to 7-minute mile range, which mine is, I'm not sure this is a shoe that's designed for you and that you'll get the same benefits as someone who's running faster. Please leave your comments below. Let us know if you've got any questions. We'll always try to answer them. Thanks for tuning in and happy running.